Chapter 7.
So what? Who cares?
Saying why it matters. As we continue our journey through writing, we have to think about who is reading our responses, who they are, and why they should even care. However, there are two questions we must understand before continuing. We must understand the who cares question and the so what question, and understanding the importance of establishing the relevance of what you are saying. Basically making sure our audience knows what to care about and who anyone else even cares. But first, let's dive right into interest.
Imagine yapping about some random topic and then looking up at everyone and no one is listening. People may not be interested in your topic just because you want to get on at 1 a.m. on a school night. Doesn't mean your friends will, you degenerate. Instead of assuming they care, you have to explain why they should care about your topic, and if they care and you make them care, they'll be engaged and actually listen to you. And if you don't, they probably have brain rot. So, when you're trying to establish the relevance or the importance, you have to answer who cares and so what.
Who cares? When talking about who cares, establish what person or group cares about your claims. You need to make sure your audience understands that there are other people who care about what you're talking about and not just you. In one example from science writer Denise Grady, she explains some of her latest research into fat cells, saying,
"Scientists used to think body fat and the cells it was made of were pretty much inert, just an oily storage compartment. But within the past decade, research has shown that fat cells act like chemical factories and that body fat is potent stuff, a highly active tissue that secretes hormones and other substances with profound and sometimes harmful effects. In recent years, biologists have begun calling fat an endocrine organ, comparing it to glands like the thyroid and pituitary, which also release hormones straight into the bloodstream."
And blah blah blah. You see how she adds the fact that scientists are the ones she is talking to. Now without it, it would read,
"Within the past decade, research has shown that fat cells act like chemical factories and the body is potent stuff, a highly active tissue that secretes hormones and other substances with profound and sometimes harmful effects. In recent years, biologists have begun calling fat an endocrine organ, comparing it to glands like the thyroid and pituitary, which also release hormones straight into the bloodstream."
Without adding who cares, the text is much more simple, but it lacks any indication of who cares. To suggest who cares questions in your own writing, these templates are a few you could use.
This interpretation challenges the work of those who have long assumed that blank. These findings challenge the work of early researchers who tended to assume that blank. Recent studies like these shed new light on blank, which previous studies had not addressed.
You know what the problem with these are? They aren't explicit in who cares. Now let's look at templates that add who cares.
But who really cares? Who besides me and a handful of recent researchers has a stake in these claims? At the very least, the researchers who firmly believe blank should care.
And you can even make these better by naming specific people or groups who have a stake in your claims and to go into detail into their views. I'm not gonna read all that, but as you can see here, scientists were used to create the people who have a stake in our claims as well as some of their views. These are the people who do care about your topic and who you are writing to. In other cases, you might refer to other people or groups who should care about your claims. Unlike me, I don't care.
Examples like, at first glance, gamers might say blank, but on close inspection, blank. If model Lego builders stop to think about it, many of them might simply assume that most successful Lego master builders blank. However, blank.
And so on and so forth. With these templates, answering the who cares question involves establishing the type of contrast between what others say and what you say. These templates help create a tension between differing views that readers are heavily invested in. And what's after who cares? So what?
Now that we establish who cares in your writing, we should write why it even matters. Although answering the who cares question is important, in a lot of cases it's not enough. In the case of Grady's argument about fat cells, such readers may still wonder why it matters that some researchers think one way and another. In order to appeal to the reader, we have to write about something that your audience already cares about. So, in the who cares question, it's asking you to identify the interested persons or group. The so what question asks you to link your argument to some larger matter that the readers already think is important. Grady can say in her so what question that fat cells are affecting our world and obesity, and that we need to prevent obesity from destroying our health. Addressing concerns like these are the easiest way to answer the so what questions, and some claims you can use are, although X may seem trivial, it is in fact crucial in terms of today's concern over blank. Ultimately, what is at stake here is blank. These findings have important implications for the broader domain of blank. And you can also use so what questions as a related aspect of the who cares questions, having templates that say, although X may seem of concern to only a small group of blank, it should in fact concern anyone who cares about blank. Real-world implications engage readers more and provide a better understanding of why they should read your writing.
What about readers who already know why it matters?
How about if the questions you are answering already are consequential, like the cure to world hunger, or if Miss Mello will give us a good grade? Wouldn't it be obvious that everyone cares about such problems? And what if these people already know why it is so important? Do you still need to write about who cares and so what? Well, yes, though you can't answer them forever, you should go as far as possible in answering these questions. If you take it for granted, the readers might know the answers to who cares and so what. You might make your work seem less interesting than it is and run the risk of making your readers think that your text is irrelevant and unimportant. But if you are careful to explain who cares and why, your readers will keep up with your text, pay attention, and care about your topic.
In conclusion, we make sure our points are relevant and meaningful to our readers. This chapter shows that to make our writing stand out, we need to connect our ideas to bigger issues and explain their significance. In this way, our arguments are not just clear, but also impactful and engaging. And please, Miss Mello, give us a good grade.